So this is one of my bikes. It's a 1983, I think, Eaton Road King. But there's one big problem with it, and that is the seat. Today I'm going to swap out the seat post. Don't actually have the seat post. Here it is. This is a 1-inch stainless steel or aluminum seat post that I'm going to swap over for this one. If you're wondering why, it's because the current seat post, that's all you get. That's all the seat post there is. And for me that's a problem because I'm really tall. So we're going to swap it over for a longer one. So that's the plan for today. Alright, so immediate problem. This is not the right size seat post. Oops. I don't really want to order any more parts, so I might actually come up with a plan. I think rather than buy a replacement, I'm just gonna try aluminum can. See if that works. I can make my own shims. So my thinking is if I can cut this up into sheet metal, I can wrap it around this post and it will fit into the post of the bike. In theory, I should be able to cut shims out that roll up around this. I'm just starting to roll it backwards here just to get some of that natural bend out of the metal. And then if I do that, hopefully I can have at least a silver part on the outside, which I think will just look nicer if any of it starts to show. Now we have sort of a perfectly flat shim to work with. And we'll go see how this fits. So what I've realized might actually be easier is to roll this up ahead of time and then carefully slide that into the seat post and then let it expand. Push it down into place, trying to make sure it's going. So that shim I put in might actually be too tight now, so I have to take it out and cut it down a little bit and then put it back in and see how that fits. I lied, it actually is easier to wrap it around the post first and then put it into the seat post. Now I'm turning it counterclockwise as I go in, just so that as it goes down, the shim sort of seats properly into the seat post hole. And there's no loose edges or anything, so. But it's definitely a lot more snug than it was before. Right, so that's pretty much solid. It still moves a tiny bit, but I can still tighten this down a little bit more, so I think it's time to put the seat back on. So I'm actually not going to be putting this seat back on. I don't like this seat, I think it's ugly, and it's just not that comfortable for me. So I'm actually going to put on this one. Now if this looks familiar to you at all, that's impressive because it's actually off of my green hardtail. That actually the first video I put up was of that bike. So I've actually stolen the seat off that bike and I'm planning on putting it on this one, because this one's a little bit beat up and scratched. Which works perfect for this bike because it's really just an A to B, don't really care if it gets stolen, not really putting a lot of money into it. So yeah, this is what I'm going to use. I think putting saddles on seat posts is my least favorite job working on bikes. I'll see if I can get this thing off. That wasn't so hard. Alright. It's time to move these to the new seat post. So I've got the new seat post on here, our new/used seat, and all the hardware from the original seat post. And time to put it on here. See how this goes. These are always very finicky, that's my experience. If you're thinking to yourself, Isaac, I've seen some of your videos before. You have a bike stand and a nice place to work. Why aren't you using that now? Frankly, it's a mess down here right now. I've got some plans to sort of change how it works down here. Just have a better workspace in general. So there's kind of things everywhere. So I don't have exactly the greatest space to work. I just got my bike leaned up against the table here. Making work with what we've got. These things have got to be the most finicky part of working on any bike. I think it rivals that of only doing a brake bleed, which I also hate doing. We'll see if I can get this to fit on. There. So this goes on one end, one goes on the other end, and then you just pinch the whole thing together with these nuts, which I have already lost. Never mind, I found them. Okay. Alright, so it just needs to be tightened up, but that is one swapped seat and seat post. Hopefully that'll be better for my rides. So I think overall it was actually a really good idea to swap this seat. I think it not only looks better, but it's also going to be a lot better riding it around with the proper seat height. So there you go. Proof that if you have a seat post that doesn't quite fit, and it's a cheap bike, you can just make your own shims out of an aluminum can and put them and make them work. I've actually had a few people asking me when I'm going to make or build another bike or make another video on that. And I've actually got two bikes in the running. An old vintage road bike and then an older hybrid style mountain bike from the 90s, which hopefully in the spring when I get the parts, I'll be able to work on those. But in the meantime, hope you enjoy the videos. That's it. Thanks.